Yeah, I think the catalyst for the next bull run is an educated market and an educated set of policymakers and regulators and an educated media. And what we've gotten over the past 6 to 9 months is a very expensive education. Right? People learned a lot from Terra Luna. They learned a lot from Three Eras. They learned a lot from the meltdowns of Voyager and Celsius. They learned a lot from FTX. I think that if you look at coverage of Bitcoin and the crypto world on CNBC, on Bloomberg, in the New York Times, in the Wall Street Journal, in most mainstream media, it's much more sophisticated today than it was 12 months ago. I think, before we say, Bitcoin, not shitcoin, but now you say, oh, Bitcoin, not FTT. Do you understand the difference? Like, oh, I get it now, yeah. Bitcoin, not Luna. The Luna thing went to zero. Why? Because it was backed by nothing, right? We used to say proof of work is better than proof of stake. Well, why is it better, right? Proof of stake could do whatever you want. Well, proof of stake is what FTT was. It was backed by one person. That was a mistake, right? Now when you try to explain why is it that you would want to have 10 gigawatts of energy and millions of Bitcoin mining rigs running the network, it's because you're actually backed by something tangible. And the alternative is you have Luna and FTT and Serum backed by air. And so I think for the industry to move forward, the market has to grow up and be educated. And when senators didn't really understand the difference between Bitcoin and even Ethereum, right? As late as like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, a lot of people in the Senate said, well, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're both commodities. And of course, Bitcoin's a commodity, but Ethereum is not a commodity. Ethereum is a security. It's a staked token. And there's nothing backing it but the trust that you have in a small handful of people and small organizations. So, when we had the Bozeman-Stabenow bill that kind of didn't distinguish the difference, when you had regulators in D.C. that didn't know the difference, I think that was when you have crypto lobbyists and when you have mainstream media that don't know the difference, the industry is held back. And we really needed to have the meltdown of the crypto casinos and the meltdown of these crypto tokens and the meltdown of these unstable altcoins like UST in order for Congress and the Senate and the administration to recognize, what these asset classes are. And I think that we're now getting to the point where people are starting to recognize there's something that's a cryptocurrency, maybe like Circle or Tether, and for it to be an ethical, properly engineered, economically sound cryptocurrency, you're going to have a public issuer that's transparent in its assets that then backs the token with no risk assets. So if I issue $100 billion worth of stablecoin backed by $100 billion worth of short-term U.S. treasuries, and if I'm a publicly traded company and I disclose my balances every week, then maybe I will be trusted. There's no guarantee. There's still counterparty risk. But the point is that would be the foundation to issue a digital currency like a Circle or like a Tether, and there's a market for that. There's a growing awareness of a digital commodity. Bitcoin is the only one. The chair of the SEC has said Bitcoin's the digital commodity. The chair of the CFTC has said Bitcoin is the only digital commodity. This is really critical. The fact that you now have regulators in D.C. that universally acknowledge there is one digital commodity, and you have a set of people that now understand a digital commodity is an asset without an issuer. I think that's a really big development in the industry, and it's a milestone. And 12 to 24 months ago, there's still a lot of confusion. I mean, a lot of people are trying to legislate what is a commodity. Like, you can't make Ethereum a commodity by passing a law. It's not, it's like trying to pass a law that makes, like, gold a security or makes oil a security. You can't make it a security. It's a commodity. And you can't do the opposite. You can't make Facebook stock a commodity by passing a law. Guess what? The only two commodities are oil, natural gas, or oil and Facebook stock. You can't pass laws that make something a different asset class. And so we've had some deadlock there because of confusion and because of that tug of war. We were stuck in that deadlock because you had people like FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried dropping hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars to corrupt the political process. They were corrupting the politicians. They were trying to interfere. They were inserting into that legislation things that would be beneficial to the crypto industry and the air token producers, that would be detrimental to the world, detrimental to the $100 trillion securities industry, detrimental to every citizen on earth, detrimental to Bitcoin, detrimental to anybody that believes in truth and honesty and justice. So they were definitely malefactors. They were trying to, in essence, bribe the CFTC. They wanted to actually funnel a bunch of crypto exchange fees into the CFTC in return for light regulation or no regulation. So that was the status quo 6 months ago. And if the crypto industry had continued to succeed with pumping of the air tokens like Terra and Luna and FTT and Serum, and if they continued to be able to run this crypto exchange like FTX and continue to steal through Alameda and then move money through all sorts of dark pools, then you might have had a very corrupt system, not to mention the fact that they're literally corrupting the journalists and the mainstream media that are writing the story by showering hundreds of millions of dollars on them or their cronies, if not billions and billions. So we've hit a significant milestone, and the milestone is a virtuous one. The meltdown of this crypto complex means that the ability to corrupt the establishment with counterfeit money has been severely impaired. Hasn't completely stopped. There's still some transgression, but it's definitely been impaired. And I think there are a lot of honest people that are genuinely interested in doing the right thing for the world that now have had their eyes opened. And so our ability to move forward with ethically sound, economically sound, technically sound digital currencies, digital commodities, and or digital securities is much greater. And I think that's where we are today. So I think that this will be remembered as a difficult year and a transition year, but 2023 should be much better. And 2024, we should be picking up a good amount of momentum. And I think we get into 2025, and I think then we're really in the main early years of institutional adoption in a big way. And my advice to anybody is, hodl.